is, but 'tis the season, probably right now, when the weather's super warm, that you notice these pesky weeds more than ever. And you really need to truly take care of them, because the more that the weed thrives, the more they take away from the energy of plants that you get to enjoy and bloom. And so what Sunjo has done is partnered with a Japanese company to come up with this stainless steel weeder. It's 4 feet in height, which is awesome, which means we don't have to get down on our hands and knees, and we don't have to necessarily crack a beer because we have a chiropractic adjustment coming our way after this. It's less than $50 and does something really unique that you've probably never seen when it comes to eradicating weeds. It's M55625. It's less than $50, but remember, we've got great easy pay coming your way. This is Nancy Brand-Mueller. She is one of our home expert gals. And you know what, Nancy? We are just too pretty to be pulling weeds all day.
I know. You know what? But I've said, you know what? Life is short. Wear your pearls even while you're reading.
Yes,
right?
I love that.
You know, because it's a job that has to be done. If you're a gardener, you know that you can go away on vacation, especially this time of year when it's raining and it's hot. You know, and you can be gone for just a short amount of time, and you come back, it's like, what happened to my garden? Where's my flowers? There's all these weeds. So this tool is a professional tool. It's by Nisaku, and there is one reason why Japanese gardens are known to be precise and beautiful. That's because they have the right tools. And so this is a tool that you can use to help create a really beautiful garden, but make it easier. I love that it's got a 4-foot handle. That means you're doing your reading standing up. Also, you've got a 7-inch corrugated stainless steel blade right here. And the stainless steel means it's going to be easy to clean, it's going to be really tough, but also the corrugated edge is going to help you slice right down into the soil as well as get into pavers, which I'll show you in a minute. It's also angled from the handle, and that's also going to make it really easy to use and help you get your job done. So let's get to weeding, okay?
Let's get to weeding.
So I'll show you how to use it. The first thing is that point is really nice because you're going to get that right into the soil. Now, these are weeds that I harvested from my garden yesterday. So,
which, by the way, how long did it take you with this?
Oh, I walked around for 10 minutes maybe.
Perfect.
So I just gathered up these weeds. I'm going to just poke it in the ground and tilt it. And what that does is it dislodges the weed from the root right there, and you can just get rid of it. So now you want to make sure that you are getting it at the root, because then it won't grow back.
So should you approach it almost like you would a shovel, like for those really hard weeds, like kind of just stab it in like that,
just
and then lift it that way?
Poke it in like that. And if your soil is really hard because of lack of rain or whatever, go ahead and just like here, just gonna give it an extra little push with your foot, and it's going to just pop it right out. Another one that I have too, like this kind of stuff that kind of spreads all over the place right here, I actually put the tip in and I spun it around and kind of like spaghetti, it pulled it out.
Awesome.
So that's a great way to do it.
You know, the other nice thing about this, I remember reading a magazine article about ways to make weeding fun, and somebody suggested while you were having your morning coffee to just like coffee in one hand and weed in the other, and I was like, in what realm would you think that was possible
and
with
I have
my
hands for coffee?
And what kind of weeds do you have?
Right, exactly.
Because mine are in there, and you feel like you have to exert so much energy. Plus, I'll say this, we've got some great gardening gloves coming up from Ultimate Innovations. I don't necessarily want to go out and get my gardening gloves all the way and mess them up. Now you can just kind of dig through and pick them up that way.
So here is a really common problem too, is weeds growing in pavers and in bricks. And most people say that they're getting out either their butter knife from their kitchen, or they're getting a screwdriver. Well, this is going to get right in between the cracks and crevices.
I'm embarrassed to tell you I've gotten a bobby pin for this.
A bobby pin?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
How sad. How sad.
But that's on your hands and knees, right? So here I'm using it just standing up, and I'm just getting in between those pavers very easily. And that's, again, because of this corrugated edge right here, Courtney, and the beveled edge on the end. Now, this is not so sharp that I can't touch it. See, I can touch it, so I don't have to worry about that. But it is getting the weeds out of these cracks and crevices and that corrugated edge. And again, these are weeds I harvested from my yard, and actually right from the edge of my patio and the steps that I have. Another way that you can use it is scraping on the top. So if you have like that, we were looking at the, I want to call it mold, that's not what it was. The moss,
Yes,
that's the word. And that'll grow very often in this area here. You can use this to scrape that off too.
Well, and I want you to think about this. You know, you could use a chemical, but you know, the more conscious I get about the products and chemicals that I'm using in my home, you see the ingredients on the back of those weed killers, and I mean, that's something that you'd have to worry about being in your soil for years to come, or around your pets and your little ones. Now this is a one-time investment. It's less than $50. You're not having to bend over, and quite frankly, you're able to control the weeds without having to get separate products out to help you kind of eradicate them. And so if you're looking around at your yard, I mean, get up and go to the window. What does your backyard look like? Are you noticing that all of a sudden, maybe if you weeded last week, they're all still there in full form? How nice would it be for you to take 5 or 10 minutes, completely lift them from the roots so that they're not starving all of your other plants and flowers?
Right, exactly. That's such a good point.
And hopefully prevent them from growing back in that spot.
I know, that's such a good point. You know, you definitely want to get rid of them because, like you said, they are robbing the nutrients, the water, and the nutrients from other plants.
It's rude.
Exactly, and it's not the way you want to have in your garden.
No.
And one of the things they were showing in the video too is you can actually use this to kind of chop away at ones. You know, sometimes they grow really big, so you can kind of hack and chop away, and then once you get the top part off, then just reach in there with that point and just kind of pry it out, and then you're getting the roots as well.
One of the things that really impressed me about this is just, you know, kind of how sharp it is and able to get to the root. We have bishop's weed in our yard, which if you know anything about that, it's an underground tunneler that even the harshest chemicals can't get rid of. I like this because it breaks the tunneling, but also allows me, much like a shovel, to get in there and kind of break it up a lot more than just what I would with my hands alone. 700 orders of this has just already been placed. And watch how I just kind of right in there, lift up the soil, and the weeds gone. You know, the even better part about this is having a larger faceplate. If you've got one of those brown yard bags, you can just lift it up and then pull it over. So really you're not bending at all.
And this is really nice to work along edges too, because of that really nice thin stainless steel blade. You can just go along the edges too, because sometimes, you know, you have your grass kind of starts creeping out up against your sidewalk. So I love the fact that you can go ahead and kind of clean things up. If you have a weed growing, let's see if I've planted one. I'm gonna go over to this one.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I have one right here. If you have a weed that's kind of growing up against that edge, then all you have to do is place it up against the edge like that and just kind of tilt it, and then you're just kind of prying it out of there. And again, you're gonna get it by the root.
And that's the perfect example because I feel like when I have weeds on the edge of my garden, I tend to break them. And so the weed is still very much alive. It's like, ooh, I got a leaf. Watch out, world.
I know, and you know it's gonna be right back, right? So it's so important to go ahead and try to do the best you can to get it right at the root, and this tool is gonna help you do that. And I also love the fact that this has a varnished handle.
Yeah.
Because notice how we're just, you know, I don't have gloves on right now. I'm just using it right with the handle because this is varnished. It's very comfortable, but it's also not going to give me splinters. Where so many of the garden tools that are out there, the handle is not varnished. It's just raw wood.
Not at all. And you know, weeds grow in all kinds of places, and it takes a lot of effort sometimes to get them out of the pavers, to get them out of the garden beds. And now you just have one tool that does that for you without the use of any chemicals, without having to have a purchase later on down the line. And then guess what? You're not having at the end of the day of yard work having to crack open a beer or be like, where did the day go?
Exactly.
Because what now might have taken you an hour to weed, with this engineered stainless steel weeder, you're doing it in a matter of minutes.
I know, it's so nice. And the other thing is too, this is not a huge tool to have to store. My husband and I downsized a couple of years ago. We don't have a lot of room in our garage to store a really big power tool or anything, or a whole lot of chemicals, which I actually don't want to use anyways. I've got a dog. I don't want her out there walking around in the grass with some chemicals that have been sprayed. And also, if you have those pavers and you use a spray, those weeds are still going to be there. They're just going to be ugly and brown, and you still have to bend over and pick them up.
Very true.
So how about using this, which has that great corrugated edge right here, to get right in between these pavers, and you just run it along the edge, and it just gets it right out, because that corrugated edge helps loosen those so that you can get them and you're not ruining a screwdriver, you're not ruining your
Oh,
knife
no.
from the
And
kitchen.
I mean, no one until now has ever volunteered to weed the yard, and now you were the person
Actually
getting
might have some fun.
scot-free. Like, you're like, yeah, I'll weed. 10 minutes later, watching Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It's a win for everybody. Less than $50 and more than 800 orders have been spoken for today. If you want to go to QVC.com or pick up the phone and dial 1-800-500-7590. This, of course, is our stainless steel weeder from Sunjo. Thanks, Nancy.
Thank you, Courtney. Good to see you.
Oh my gosh, these are so cute. Okay, so Nancy's going to be back with these.